In this video I'm going to be taking a look at the new Creality Ender-5 S1 3D printer. This arrived in a very large heavy box, and as you can see, well packaged as usual, and it all went together very nicely. Nice instructions, very simple to put together, most of it pre-assembled. I was very impressed with the quality. Lovely all metal construction, very solid feel, and had a nice weight to it. As I say, a lot of it was pre-assembled, like the top section, the gantry and everything. All the belt tensions were correct, all the wheels were properly adjusted on it already, so that was all good. All colour coded as well, so you know what screws in where. Here I'm just supporting the build plate to assemble it, attaching it to the Z-axis. And attaching these extra supports that they've made, which I must say keeps the build plate very rigid. It is a cantilever design, but it is quite solid. All went together very nicely. Final tightening up of everything. Adding these extra support brackets which really keep that frame very rigid. And then it was a case of attaching the spool holder and connecting all the electrical connectors, all the wiring. And the design of this meant that the cable management was excellent. Very neat. It was one of the best I've come across, really. I just finished the printer off very nicely. It looks really good when it's built. I'll just put in the filament feed tube there. These are the clips which keep all the cables neat and out of the way. Special little loops for cable ties. Let's have a look at some of the features. You've got 4 rollers on these carriages, and it's all metal, even those covers are metal. The Sprite hot end, which is excellent. And this is the feed tube for the filament. It's not a Bowden tube, it's just a feed tube because it's a direct drive extruder. Filament run out sensor. And silicon bushes under the bed. So it forms a nice firm bed. Touchscreen was excellent and a really good user interface. There's the spool holder. And these extra supports for rigidity. Extra supports under the bed. And the bed itself has got this really good flex sheet on it, and adhesion to this was excellent, almost too good at times. Full size SD card, USB-C, really nice cable connector for the heated bed. More good cable management, and this was the part cooling ducts, and this was really good, very effective part cooling. Time to fire it up. There's the screen. Doesn't really show how clear it is on this video, but it is excellent. So we're going to start getting it ready. So I'm preheating the bed, which I would always advise before doing any bed levelling. Just adjusting temperatures. And then it's a case to go on to the bed levelling. Auxiliary or manual levelling first. And you have 5 points that you can select for it, and then level each of these points using paper. I only use the corner points, the middle point I leave that. It has to home on the bottom there, so the bed has to go right down to the limit switch at the bottom before slowly coming back up, which is a little bit tedious. Here I am using the paper, just so the moment there's a slight bit of resistance I know that it's correct. Then I move around to each of the corners doing the same thing, and I go around several times until they're all just right. As you adjust one corner, it can affect the opposite corner, so you will need to go around a few times. But it's not a huge bed on this printer, so levelling is quite simple. And then it's a case of the auto bed levelling. It's got a CR touch on the hot end for auto levelling. This is a multi-point bed levelling check, and this was quite quick once it had homed, and very, very effective. The first layers with this printer were some of the best I've ever had. So it's good active bed levelling on this. You can just see it going through the motions here. Then it was a case of loading some filament. This is the sample spool that came with the printer, and I have to say I was very pleased that it came on a proper spool. It makes it actually useful filament. And we're going to print a benchy. And I have to say, this standard PLA that came with the printer, I was very impressed with. It was really nice. Produced very smooth prints. Really good first layer. And there's the screen, just showing the status of the print. And you've got Z offset adjustment on there as well. This is actual speed. I think I was printing this at the suggested 120 millimeters per second. But it printed very, very nicely. The top layers were perfect. Getting a little bit of stringing, so I still need to experiment further with the retraction settings. I was using suggested retraction setting. For a first print, this benchy was fantastic, really. As I say, this filament gave a nice smooth result. Just finishing off. Yeah, but very happy with that. As I say, a little bit of stringing, but easily cleaned away. Great top layers. Nice smooth print. One of the features I really like about this printer is it's got these locating lugs at the back of the heated bed, which makes it very easy to locate the flexible bed back in the correct position. Printed another benchy using some of my eSun filament. That came out very well. And this is me using Shaper 3D just to design some flexible feet for a hat box I was making. I love Shaper 3D, brilliant design software. Very easy and intuitive to use. Here I'm printing out a set of 4 feet, and I'm printing these in TPU. A little bit of snap, crackle and pop as I'm doing this because the filament isn't exactly dry and it's quite old now. But they still came out reasonably well. A little bit of stringing, which you'd expect with this TPU. You'd get less stringing if you printed them individually, of course. But there they are with bolts installed. And there they are installed on the underside of the hat box. You can find this video on my channel. Time to print my Happy Spaceman design. And most of my designs you can find on Creality Cloud. I'll put links in the description. But here he is in the slicing software. And I'm going to use this brand new Creality filament. This is the HP Ultra, which is designed by Creality and BASF. Another perfect first layer. And this is very white filament, I have to say. A little bit stringy, this filament. It doesn't always give the smoothest prints, but it was very strong, and I like the colour and the sheen on it. It certainly was good for the detail, and his fingers and everything were very strong. The flexible build plate was a joy to use, very easy to remove these prints, and there he is. It was a good print. Most of the stringing was on the support structures. The actual print itself was very clean. This is an M33 threaded rod I designed on Shaper 3D. M33 is a metric thread. This was a very tall print, which is perfect for these printers that aren't bed slingers. And there's an adjustment collar that's M33 to fit on it. See me just peeling it off the flexible build plate there. But the threads worked perfectly, and they're really good quality prints. I thought I'd better do a festive print. You'll see what it is in a minute. Multiple prints in different colours and types of filament. There it is in the slicing software. Here it is on the printer. This is using some black PLA plus filament. This first print is hat, buttons, eyes and mouth. And that came out very, very well. Lovely smooth top layers. There it is. Peels off very nicely. Now for the next stage, as I say, multiple parts to this one. Purple PLA plus filament. This is a scarf and some mittens. Very stringy, this one. And now for a body and a head. This is using the ultra filament. I like the white filament for doing these snowy things. These first layers are slow, but this was a very fast print. I think I printed this at over 200mm per second. It came out very well considering the speed I was printing it at. It's sort of a modular design. Here he is. It's my Christmas snowman. All slotted together perfectly. I had to print him a nose. I'd run out of orange for his carrot, so he's got a green carrot. I guess he's got a cold. And then some TPU arms. I was predicting these coming out a bit knobbly, but they actually came out perfectly. Absolutely perfectly smooth TPU arms, but there we go. Bendy arms. We've got his little mitten on. Fitting his buttons. Just clipping them into place. Bit more assembly, and he's built. Very happy with that. He'll go well on our Christmas decoration table. Wouldn't be a Jimson video without a skull. So here I'm printing this little skull in the ultra filament, and this I also printed very, very fast as an experiment. And I was amazed how good this print came out actually. You can see the support structures there. But the detail that it picked up was really good, really detailed print. So I cleaned off the support structures. You can see I've modified this so I can actually fit it on my snowman body. The Sonic Pad, the Creality Sonic Pad, can actually power 4 printers at once, so I've decided at this point to convert my Ender-5 S1 to clipper. So this is the thumbnail displayed on the Sonic Pad screen. Yep, another benchy. So I'm printing this very fast. This is using the Sonic Pad and the new filament. There it is, just finishing off. Well, this was a great print, came out very well. This filament isn't the smoothest, but here's a comparison. As you can see, it's not the smoothest filament, but the one on the left is the Marlin version and the one on the right is done on clipper. It's very hard to see in the video, but you can see the one on the left has got a little bit more sort of fish skin pattern on the side. But there's not a huge difference between the two. There's a bit less stringing as well on the clipper version, but it was the same G-code. They're actually quite a bit smoother than they appear. Then it's time for another one of my Shaper 3D designs. I decided to design an igloo for our little Christmas display. Our little snow scene we've got. Here it is printing. This was printed at 120mm per second in the new ultra filament. This is actual speed. And here it is speeded up, just showing the bridging. It was amazing that this could print with no supports. It just shows how good the part cooling fan is on this. Just peeling it off the plate. There it is. And then I drop it. Oops. But there we go. Printed with no supports. This is a scan of a badger skull that I did. I did the scan. This is it in Cura slicing software. I've added some extra supports around the teeth at the front. Here it is uploaded onto the Sonic Pad with the little thumbnail there. And these are the first layers going down. Once again, really good first layers. And this was in the standard PLA that came with the printer. This is when you're thankful for the flex bed for releasing these prints with the large footprint. There's quite a bit of stringing on this one, but it did all clean off very well. It might be because it's so cold up in my workshop at the moment. But there's the finished print, cleaned up. It actually came out amazingly well. It's one of the best filament prints I've ever done, I think. Perfectly accurate, all clipped together very nicely. You can see the jaw working there. But that's a perfect scale model of a badger skull. Yeah, I was delighted with how that came out. That's another design that is also on Creality Cloud if you want to have a go at printing it yourself. But there we go. Well, I'm up in my extremely cold 3D print workshop up in the attic. It is freezing cold here at the minute. We're having a little bit of a cold snap. You can probably see my breath steaming. Too cold for 3D printing at the moment. This is the Creality Ender-5 S1. Brand new printer from Creality, and I've been putting it through its paces. I have to say, very impressed. Very nice printer. Loads of great features. They've really worked hard on a lovely solid frame to this. Lovely touch screen. Very nice flexible build plate. Loads of reinforcements on it. And the Sprite hot end is already proven to be really, really good. The cooling ducts on the part cooling ducts where it's coming in from both sides are fantastic, and the bridging on this is really very impressive. In fact, it's better than my Ender-5 S1. The Ender-5 S1 is a fantastic printer and it's been my go-to. And I would say the print quality on the new Ender-5 S1 matches the Ender-5 S1 and is a bit better when it comes to bridging. There's a couple of things that could be improved. I'm not overly keen on this cantilever bed design. I don't think it's going to be an issue with it sagging because it's very stable. It's got extra supports, and I think you'd have to be printing something massive and very heavy and dense for it to sag at all. But I think if they'd put dual Z-axis lead screws on it, it would have made it a lot more stable in regards to less vibration. And it's vibration that will cause an issue. I connected it to my Sonic Pad in the end, purely because it's easier to upload files via Wi-Fi, and it has got resonance testing on this, so it can optimize the print speed. And I did that with the resonance sensor that comes with the Sonic Pad. I did it with it on the hot end, but the vibration is all through the bed really on this printer. So I might redo it and try it with the sensor on the bed and see if that makes a difference. But certainly printing at standard speeds, this printer is exceptionally good. And in fact, the print quality is good right up to 120 millimeters per second and 2000 millimeters squared acceleration. After that, the print quality starts to drop off a bit, which is fine for some functional pieces and things like that. You can certainly print them out very, very fast. Personally, I'd rather keep the speed down and have some good quality prints. Anyway, that's my thoughts on the Ender-5 S1. Please like, share and subscribe, and I'll be back soon with some more videos. Don't forget to check out the links in the description. There'll be links on where you can purchase this printer, and there'll also be links to where you can find my 3D models and download those and have a go at printing them yourselves. Right, bye for now.
More rubbish coming soon.